This is Nataly Dawn, and you're listening to the Break It Down Show.
And now, the Break It Down Show with John and Pete.
Good. I'm
Man,
back.
we are glad. I'm so glad you came. We're at my house, and you came and ate tacos with us.
Sure did.
And-
Vegan tacos.
Yeah.
You are quite the chef.
Oh, thank you.
It was the best Friday night meal that you could have hoped for, really.
Wow.
Just having Friday night tacos with a bunch of cool people at a kitchen counter, just hanging out.
Sweet.
Brenna was there too.
She was.
Brenna was there.
Nico showed up.
Your two cats, Kitty, and I wanted to say Bubba, but I think it's Buster.
It's
It
Buster.
is indeed Buster.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the whole gang, and my lovely bride, Christy. You are a lovely bride, freshly married, aren't you?
I sure am.
Wow.
So Jack and I, so my husband Jack, who's also my bandmate from Pomplamoose, we are constantly fiddling with our ring fingers, like twisting it around.
Yeah.
And he always takes his off, and it flies and goes into like really precarious locations. And I'm always like, "Damn it, Jack! Stop taking off your ring," because I leave mine on, but he like fiddles and then it's just. I should probably have like 4 backup rings for him,
Right.
just in case.
That's
Have
a
you
good
guys
plan.
ever lost your wedding rings?
I didn't take mine off because I would lose it. Absolutely.
Right?
I'd rather lose my finger than lose my ring, because my wife was more, she didn't want my ring to be off my finger.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
if I took it off, it would be like 8 seconds and that thing would be gone.
Yeah.
I wear a wedding ring right now, and sometimes. And for many years, I didn't wear it and I was no less married. I didn't avoid wearing it for any reason other than I don't wear jewelry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It feels weird.
it is a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's fun. I mean, it's not. I like to celebrate being married. I've been married 20 years. So, yeah. So,
Congratulations.
thanks. And it's best decision I ever made. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, why not celebrate it? But it does feel funny sitting on my. So I fiddle with mine too.
Yeah.
And do you have the groove in your finger yet?
Oh, yeah, totally. And you can tell, excuse me, getting over a cold. Sorry about that. You can tell how hot or cold it is based on like how
tight
swollen
your-
your finger. It's really gross.
Yeah.
So here you are, freshly married. You guys are still newlyweds, and you're
Yeah.
going to hit the road.
It's so funny you mentioned we're newlyweds. It doesn't feel that different because we've been together for a decade and then we got married, and I think everyone at the wedding was kind of surprised at how comfortable and casual the whole thing felt because we're like, of course, it's like a no-duh sort of thing. We're not like, oh no, is this the right decision? Do I
Yeah.
really know this person well enough? It's like, yeah, you know. You know
Well,
this
and let's
person.
say this too, because I'm going to presume a lot of things about you on this show, even though we
Feel
just met
free.
today.
Yeah, no, go for it.
But because I've seen so much of the creativity that you've exercised together,
Yeah.
it seems like that really amplifies your everything. It's one thing to say, well, we've been together for 10 years, but most people together 10 years are together in the evening when they get off work
Yeah, that's
And
what we are now.
for about 2.5 hours, and then you go to sleep.
Yeah.
And you wake up and you like each other and all that stuff. But you two have created this empire of music and video and content that we all know and love. And that takes time, and it takes energy, and it takes a revealing of your soul and vulnerability that most people don't have 10 years like that.
Yeah, it's intense. It's a lot of us together in a very small room making loud noises. Yeah, you're right. That's not what most people get. For the bulk of our relationship, it was just us in a home studio, and Jack would produce the songs and I would edit the videos, and we would just make music together all week, or at least that's what my brain is telling me we did. I'm probably really just making it seem like it was far more like wonderful and I don't know. I mean, we were getting to know each other. We weren't that great at communicating. The thing is, like, now I feel like we're so much more prepared to be in, confined spaces with each other than we were when we were doing all this music and we were so young and stubborn and didn't know how to communicate. And now now it's so much easier and we know each other so much better, and yet we're making so much less music together, which is kind of
Wow.
strange.
Well, I would love to have, and I may chop this out, but I would love to have a Pomplamoose show with the two of you.
Yeah.
Where we can talk about the evolution of the band and your creative processes together.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff. Today, we really want to talk about you and
Me.
your solo album and your West Coast tour that you're doing with Lauren O'Connell.
Yeah.
By the way, everybody should get tickets at NatalyDawnMusic.com/shows. You're going to be, if I can just run through the schedule, and we'll post this on the show as well. But
Oh, great.
you've got November 10th coming up. Now, first, you played in Colorado already, so that was your first date. The dates coming up, you have Hotel Cafe in Los Angeles. Hotel Cafe, by the way, is November 10th, so get your tickets for that and get them fast.
Yep.
November 15th at the Chapel in San Francisco, the 18th at the Old Church in Portland, and the 19th at Barboza in Seattle.
That's right. That's our West Coast tour.
That's quick, it's fast, it's punchy.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I think it's a little strange about how I make music and about how Pomplamoose makes music is that we're not touring bands. Most bands who are able to make a living by making music full time, they do it by going on tour.
Right.
And we don't. That's just not how our business, our music business has ever worked. We've just always made music videos.
There is a semi-famous blog post, by the way, that Jack wrote
Yeah.
a few years ago
Yeah.
about the tour that you guys lost money on.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
so you're right. Most bands are out there churning and they're doing their thing and they have to be on the road to make money.
Right. Absolutely.
Chance the Rapper. Nico's a big fan of Chance the Rapper. He just gives everything away.
Yeah.
He releases an album and says, "Here, world, duplicate the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Share it, everybody."
Yeah.
And he does everything from the live show.
Yeah.
In terms of making a living. You
Yeah.
have flipped that model on its side.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it's really nice for people who are kind of homebodies, and for me, it comes down to a couple things. One is that I've tried touring, and I don't enjoy the lifestyle of touring that much. I love playing shows. I love being around fans and live audiences. That's really fun. But being on the road all the time, I mean, anyone who's lived out of a suitcase knows that it's not easy.
It sucks.
That you're away from your loved ones for extended periods of time. You're eating terribly. You're not exercising.
Right.
You're usually sitting in a van for 9 to 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
It's just really uncomfortable and not so that's one side of it, is that the whole touring lifestyle is not super appealing to me. The other is just that I love the challenge and the growth that comes with making music constantly. It's what I want to do right now. I feel like this is a very precious time in my life. Like, God only knows how many more songs I'll write. I should be writing as many songs as I possibly can right now. And maybe later in my life, when I've written a lot of songs and I'm not having the best ideas anymore, maybe that's a good time to keep playing those songs over and over again. But for now,
Wow.
I really want to be writing. I want to be making things. I want to be reaching as big of an audience as possible. And what better way to reach more people than online?
Yeah.
I mean,
You live in the age of, hey, we can reach people.
yeah.
This is incredible foresight, I have to say, because you're right. You will reach a point in a successful career, let us hope, where everybody says, "Oh, I love that song. It reminds me of my," and then you have to play all your greatest hits, and you'll be Paul Simon.
Yeah.
He could come out with a new album, and I bet it would be brilliant.
Yeah, he
But you know
just
what?
did, actually.
Okay,
He just
see?
came out with a new
Point
album.
made.
Haven't
Yeah.
listened to it.
No.
I hope to get around to it.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Yeah.
Me and Julio down by the schoolyard,
Right,
baby.
Yeah.
exactly. Yep.
Songwriting is one of those things where, as you get older, like anything else, it's a craft. You get much, much better at it. Your words are more powerful. All the things.
You learn brevity.
You learn brevity. But the best songs most everybody writes is, when they're 16 to 26 years old or whatever it is. I mean, all the best Stones songs were written a long time ago. You know, they still wrote good songs later.
Yeah, on the Delta by Old Black Guy.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, so Old Black Guy wrote their best songs. But it is a funny dynamic where as you do get better, there's no way that Paul Simon's not better, a million times better than he was when he was young. And he was always brilliant. But
Right.
yeah, once you've built that set list, AC/DC doesn't need to come out with any more songs.
No, they really
They've
don't.
got the perfect set list. There's no reason to change a thing.
But artists always want to be creating.
Right.
Like, it breaks my heart when I was recently on a flight, and I was sitting next to someone who loved music, and we started talking about music together, and he was talking about, you know, he said, who are your favorite artists? And I said, well, I mean, I think one of the best is Paul McCartney. And he's like, well, do you like the Beatles or do you like some of his other stuff? And I'm like, honestly, I like so much of Paul McCartney. I think he's done great stuff on his own and with the Beatles.
Yeah,
and,
what's not great about any point in Paul McCartney's career?
But then his response was like, well, it's not like he hasn't made anything great in a long time. I mean, and there's this sort of feeling, you know, the whole like the wrong Beatles died first, that whole state of mind where you get penalized for living longer and for making more, you know, as if, you know, John Lennon would be putting out hit records today, you know, like it just seems so unfair to me. And I think like, well, you know, fuck, if Paul isn't good enough, no kidding.
Seriously.
Ever
You know what? I mean, I would really like to punch this guy in the nuts, whoever this guy on the plane was, because first of all, that's Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
You know, cut it out.
Yeah.
He's a treasure that we were allowed to enjoy in our lifetime. And somebody's going to be like, oh, well, he hasn't. I heard a podcast with, and I don't remember his name now, but he's the guitar player on the Paul McCartney tour that just finished. Mm-hmm. And he, as a solo artist, was the opening act on the tour.
Oh, wow.
That's a good gig.
That's a sweet gig.
Yes.
I'd
was
like
doubling
it,
up.
Paul, if you're listening right now, I'd be down to do that. I don't tour much, but I mean, if you're listening and you want me to, I'd totally do that.
Would be,
Make an exception. Yeah.
But he was saying, yeah, man, I'm paraphrasing, but he was saying something along the lines of, so I go out and I really give it 110% and I do my act and I love it. And then I go back out with Paul and I look at him and I watch him do his thing. Yeah. And I'm telling you guys, Paul McCartney has never, ever been better.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, they don't tune down.
No.
You know, usually the old tricks like, oh man, I'm not as spry as I used to be. How about, you know what? Let's make that in D sharp.
We're gonna hold me closer, tiny dancer. we're gonna bring it down there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. You look at, and there's something that the rock stars have figured out, the ones that have made it through the process. You know, Sammy Hagar is not holding anything back.
Right.
He's 70 years old or 68 years old. You know, he runs around like a madman on stage. If you've ever seen The Boss live, goodness gracious, that guy is fit.
Yeah.
And
he's not holding anything back.
Yeah, that voice is holding up. Those guys have finally, you know, they've had the partying thing, and they're like, now I'm this performance person.
Robert Plant, same
right?
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
But of course, if you show up to an after party after the Grammys, you get to say the words, "How much more VIP do you have to be?"
Yeah,
you know? Because
right.
you're right. When Paul McCartney asks you for something or once shows up at your party, you just say, "Come on in," if you know what you're doing.
Right.
Know?
Oh yeah.
If you know what you're doing.
If you know what you're doing.
Yep.
So, Mr. Airplane Passenger.
Yeah.
If you make your way to the Break It Down show, we will punch you in the nuts. I think is what we're trying to say.
And rub you on the back, though, because we still like you.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about the process that you've gone through. You guys have tons of great videos and a great song, and you recorded a live Pomplamoose album. Mm-hmm. Your solo album, though, and by the way, that solo album comes out on the 29th.
Sure does.
So it drops on iTunes on the 29th. You can get it early, along with the Pomplamoose live album by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Nataly Dawn. And that's Natalie with a Y. But that's a lot all at once. What about your creative process for the solo album? I mean, how much is Jack involved in the solo album? Because you guys get to do whatever you want. You get to
Yeah.
be creative together. You can say, well, this is going to be my solo album. I'm going to tell you what to do. Did it work like that?
The thing is, for my first solo album that I did, which was How I Knew Her, Jack came on and produced that record. And it was so great having him on. And he really understood what I was going for, and he executed it in a way that I never could have. And then for this solo record, I wanted to do everything myself. So I produced it. I play most of the instruments on it. I wrote all the songs, and I did use him as a sounding board, no pun intended, like just to sort of get ideas and see how he felt about the mix, and if he felt like maybe I needed to add certain things. You know, when I would run into an issue, whose opinions I trust. There's a very small group of people who you consult when you're making art. You don't just share it with everybody, you know.
Right.
Or even if you do share it with a few people, you don't really care what they think, because there's such a small group of people whose opinions actually matter to you when you're making something. And Jack is one of those people for me, but he didn't actually add anything himself. He would just sort of give advice, and it was really lovely having him there and supporting me and telling me, because anytime you're creating, another part of it is just hating everything. You know, you're sort of between like, oh, this is good. I feel good about this. This is good. I'm going to keep this. We're going to move on. And then the next day you listen to it and you're like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
This is horrible. No one will ever like this. And so it was great having somebody who was more reasonable and less ingrained in the artistic process.
It sounds like you married a guy who knows when to stand back.
He really does. In fact, it's
Gentlemen, take note.
Yeah.
He's such a big fan of coaching. That's one of the things, you know, because now he's gone from being a full-time musician to being a full-time CEO in the last 3 years. And so he started this company called Patreon. And part of being a CEO is being really good at coaching people. And the difference between coaching and giving advice is that when you're coaching someone, you don't tell them what to do. You just ask them questions until they figure out what they want to do. And it's a much more successful way of getting someone to do something good. You know, if you I'm sure you know this as parents, but if you tell your kid, like, no, you can't do that.
You've seen my kids.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that compliment, but you're absolutely right. It's a different hat. It's a whole different thing, and it gives you a perspective on life that's a lot different. But producer and CEO, when it comes to motivating the best, most heartfelt, most sincere performance out of someone, whether it's, I really need you to do this presentation for our biggest client on Thursday, or I really need you to, whatever it is, whatever function.
Yeah.
You know, you can't, you're right, get the absolute best, most soulful thing out of somebody unless you just guide the process and let them do it. It works the same way with a microphone in front of you or with your keyboard or whatever. And I meant computer keyboard, but your tools, whatever they are.
Yeah. And I feel like I have a bad habit of just sort of seeing what's wrong and telling someone to change it. You know, like I just, like when I'm managing a situation, I'm not very good at saying like, so what were you thinking when you made that choice? Like, why did you go that direction? And, you know, what do you think about maybe, you know, doing this? And why wouldn't we do this? And like, or what, you know, and he just asks so many questions, and it's really sort of pushed me to, I don't know, do more of that.
Do you think that role of CEO has really informed his approach as a producer?
I think it's changed everything about him, honestly, like in a good way. Like, I think he's, not that he needed to be changed or anything like that, but I just think there's just so much more interrogation, so much more thoughtful interrogation, less assumption of, you know, most of us don't question our choices frequently enough. We just go ahead with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's really...
It sounds like it's really affected you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think his being, I mean, Jack has always been amazing, and at the same time, I feel like him being a CEO now has really, it's helped our relationship. It's helped.
There are words that have never been spoken on a podcast or anywhere.
Really?
Now that my husband is CEO, I think it has helped our relationship.
No, I think it has. I think it's.
No one has ever said that.
Really?
I guarantee you.
Oh, but it's so. I don't know. That makes it sound like our relationship like needed to be helped or something like that. But
what it makes it sound like is that you've had the type of relationship where you can be that introspective,
Right.
because you guys have forced yourselves together to create, and you spent 10 years creating together.
Yeah.
Because most couples spend, I don't know what the average is, but let's say it's 3 years together. Don't create anything. You know, once Larry is home from work, he works on his Camaro and I leave him alone out there. Or once, you know, Betty comes home from work, she likes to bake pies for the neighborhood. And I love that she does that. And I give her her space.
Yep.
Nobody really spends that intense amount of time for that length of time with their spouse before they become their spouse. So now you have the ability to look at it together and really analyze it from a perspective that not a lot of people have.
It is. I will say, like the transition from full time together making music to me focusing on my solo career and him being a CEO of a company. That 3-year transition was tough because it just flipped everything on its head.
Here we go.
But now,
You think you've made it out of the woods that way?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you kind of have found your voice and he's finding his voice, and you can look at it together now and go, okay.
Yeah, and I would still go back to making music with Pomplamoose in a heartbeat. Like as soon as he wants to spend a few months working on music, I will be there and I will do it because it's one of my favorite things to do in the world. I love making music with him. And at the same time, I feel like we're both in a really good place, and it's just
It sounds like you
wonderful.
guys have gone through an evolution, and to get to an evolution, you have to have a revolution. So you drop the R at some point, and then you've evolved. And
Yes.
he's taken his natural. Look, you produced your album yourself, but there's no doubt you can't produce an album without his producing also, like him staying out of your way or being a sounding board. You really do, in effect, co-produce something because you guys can't help but do that. You know, you've bonded over your, like what John was saying, how you guys have created all these things. That's part of your bonding, your cement, your mortar. You know, that's what you guys are. And now that you have this spot where you've evolved to this point, it's cool that you can reflect back and it does look like good things in the past. Like, oh, we made songs and it was the best and we hung out, you know.
Yeah.
And you can remember the positive stuff that came out. Of
Yeah.
course, everybody can see the positive stuff that came out. Go to YouTube, for crying out loud. Check out some of the
Yes.
Pomplamoose videos. Become a patron on Patreon. So go to patreon.com/Pomplamoose or /Nataly Dawn.
Yeah.
Nataly.
DAWN.
DAWN.
It's strange that it's with a Y. It really is.
Yeah.
Why the Y? I don't know.
It makes
I
it
do
easier,
know.
easier
but
for your social media. That's
It
all.
does.
There's fewer of you.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can show up late to Weibo or whatever site and you're like, nice, my name's there. I'm good.
Or whatever site.
Yeah, no, it's true. I have Nataly Dawn for every site except my actual NatalyDawnMusic.com. I changed my name to acquire a URL. That is the most vapid thing that you can do.
Wow.
And then I forgot to renew it. So now I have NatalyDawnMusic.com.
Come on.
But I changed my name to a Y.
Yeah.
Years
So
ago.
you could get Nataly
10
Dawn.
years ago so that I could get Nataly Dawn.
And then forgot
also,
to renew it.
Nataly Dawn with an IE was maybe kind of a porn site. But so
Okay.
maybe it was also worth it for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, oh well.
I recently, I own johnlg.com, and I recently forgot to renew it as well, but went back just in time. Like, ooh, I forgot to renew it. It expired on Tuesday, and it's now Friday.
See, my NatalyDawn.com is owned by a poacher now who wants an absurd amount of money for it, which is just so silly. Like, why would I pay that much for a domain name?
Yeah.
Who do you think I am?
Congratulations, poacher. You poached something, you fuck. Anyway, and that's staying in. So the tour, though, the tour launch... I learned from Jay that you got to plug these things.
Yeah, you got to.
And we don't do enough of them.
It's really kind of you to do that.
Well, we want people to go see you on tour because touring's not your favorite thing.
Well, see, saying that makes it sound like it's going to be a bad show. But
no, that's not true. That's not true.
Is,
it's the road that you don't like.
I love these shows are really fun. It's hard. What I want to tell people when they're like, I don't know if I should go to the show because I don't know the music. It's like, well, you really don't have to know the music because you're going to have a great time no matter what. Because the banter, the stage banter is really fun. Lauren and I are really close friends. She's one of the funniest people I've ever known. Mm-hmm. And in between every song is just people, like the whole audience, just laughing and falling over, and it's wonderful. So you get these like heartfelt, like singer-songwriter folk songs, and then honestly, worst case scenario, you'll hate the music and you'll have a great time.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, come on, that's not even possible.
Because as a musician, here's what I will say about you: you are a live performer.
Oh.
And you've done terrific recordings that we all can listen to and love. But you're not, there are plenty of performers out there who can make a great record, but who aren't at their core live performers. Mm. The difference being that your execution on your instrument, and your execution, by the way, on several instruments, is such that as the song goes on, and you guys can go listen to stuff and you will hear it. As the song goes on, the phrasing changes subtly from the beginning of the song to the end. That's the thing that I pick up on because your tone changes. The part of the conversation that you're making at the beginning of the song is different than at the end of the song. And these are the organic things that happen in a live performance that will make you absolutely love it, especially in the intimate settings in the places that you're playing.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I'm a big fan of songs that can stand alone with minimal production. Mm-hmm. Songs with strong melodies or harmonies or hooks and structure.
Breakdown. John and Pete.
Hey, everybody, if you like the Break It Down show,
I can dig it.
And of course you do.
Of course you do. Hit that subscribe button.
John and Pete.
It helps us out.
Say what?
Hey, if you're going to like the show on Facebook or on Twitter, it helps us out if you share the show so people can learn about it. So liking it is great. Sharing is even better.
Let's do some spy stuff.
Yeah,
let's get all our friends' phones and have them subscribe to the Break It Down show. Do it. Subscribe. Listen to the show. If you love the show, tell 5 of your friends. Or if you hate the show, tell 5 of your friends.
I don't know. I feel like when we're playing live shows, we pick songs that we know can stand alone. And when you're in the studio, you don't really have to do that. In the studio, you can add so many embellishments. You can really just fill it out and let it be about the production. But when you're playing a live show, you pick the songs that can stand on their own 2 feet without much else.
Right.
And it's a wonderful test, honestly, to put together a live show when you're so used to being in a studio and having all of these instruments at your disposal to just say, well, all we're going to do on this song is I'm going to play guitar and you're going to play banjo, and then we're both going to sing, and we'll see what happens.
This is a great artistic step, too, because any song that's good can withstand that. You know, one of the things, and I'm a big fan of you too, and I seem to bring them up once a show, but one of the things they do when they write songs.
Pete's an unapologetic big U2 fan. We should all be unapologetic about that.
But yeah, their process is incredible. So, you know, they take a song and they write it, and they know what a good song is, but the great song is what they want. And so someone that they trust will come in and say, that's great, we'll do it with a dobro guitar and a tambourine. And then if it's still good, You know, they might keep that as a fun, zany version of it, but that's how they break the song down to find the real core. And
Yeah, it's just really good.
Yeah, if it's
Yeah.
really good, it can withstand
Strip it
this.
down and let's find out.
Yeah.
I think-
Is the song good naked?
I think that's honestly that's how Jack and I write all of our songs together
Yeah.
as well. You know, it'll be him on the piano and me on bass, and we just start trying things out and singing things, and then we get the whole structure of the song nailed down before we start adding anything else to it.
I don't know. Well, there's two things I want to say, and then we'll get back to this because I'm kind of diverting a little bit. First is that our longtime listeners will know how I feel about chicks who play the bass.
That's true. That is true.
That
If
is a
not,
very
listen to
special
a third
voice
of the
for a
episodes.
woman to take on, and I think it gives perspective that is, to me, strong and respectable. It's a part of the music that, in order to understand it, you have to. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think it's just a different
You're
voice.
just saying it's badass.
Yeah, it is
It's, like,
badass.
really
That's really what
badass
I'm saying
when
is that
you
it's
play the
badass.
bass. Yeah.
Chicks who play the bass are badass.
Yeah, I feel that. I honestly, I gotta say that's something that factored into my choice when I was graduating from high school and asked my parents if they would buy me a bass, and they did.
And they said, a what? She wants a bass.
I think she meant a bass, honey. I'm going to buy her some salmon and see if that works.
You mean a guitar? Do you want more strings?
It's a gateway fish.
That's great bass. Well, here's the second thing I wanted to say, though, because this is reinforcing my point about your ability as a live performer to engage somebody and throughout a song tell a story that has not just 3 choruses, but a beginning and a substantive middle that leads us into an end. And the simplest place to take a look and see the subtlety in that is my favorite Pomplamoose song is If You Think You Want Some Lovin'. And if you just go through the song and listen to you say the words, that's fine. You say it differently in every single chorus. And it takes us through the song. And the last time you say it, it's a little more like we're used to it. And you know that it's coming and you're going to say it. And so you say it in a way where it's a little cavalier and it's just different. And you take us through that journey. And for somebody to really, really get into your soul playing live, they have to have that ability where it's different. I'm not going to sing this chorus the same way 3 times.
Yeah, that's so boring. Why would you do that?
Why would you do it?
Yeah.
Not only that, but I think that a lot of people won't pick up on it, but they will feel it. They're not going to understand that you do it. I don't even know that you do it on purpose. But you do have, this is the beginning of the song, and now I've got you, and we're on this journey together, and then pow.
Yeah.
There you go. How do you
Yep.
like that? And for that, everybody, you should go check Nataly out in Los Angeles on November 10th at the Hotel Cafe. Or November 15th at the Chapel in San Francisco, November 18th at the Old Church in Portland, and November 19th at Barboza in Seattle.
Yep.
One of the things we do here in the Break It Down shows, we like to spread the love, and we also like to encourage people to see and consume live music. So here's an opportunity, and I'm speaking to you dudes out there. Take your lady out.
Man,
Go see a
seriously.
show. You cannot. You cannot screw this up. You can't, like, you know that time when you bought your wife lawn chairs because she said she wanted lawn chairs, and you go, "Hey, it's your birthday, lawn chairs," and she's
Yeah.
like, "You motherfucker."
You dumbass.
Yeah.
Right.
You weren't supposed to buy them for me for my birthday.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, you're supposed to buy them for us. So you cannot screw this up. I promise. Go see Nataly Dawn live. It's going to be awesome.
Gosh. You
No, but it's the
guys.
truth, really. I mean, once a month, spend some money, take your woman out. The TV is always going to be there.
It's
but
not a lot of money, just for the record. You don't have to break the bank on this. It's not, you're not going to see like Seinfeld. She'd probably be happier if you were going to see Seinfeld, but I mean,
No, come on.
I'm still okay. It's okay. It's not like the worst choice.
Now, what you'll have is an evening of good music, an
Yes.
evening of good time, an evening of... The other thing that I love about you guys and that I love about you is that in your performance, there is humor. and it's genuine, and it's not just, hey, we need a laugh right here, but it's quirky and it's fun.
Ah.
And you have songs that allow you to look at your life and go, you know what? It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know?
I frequently have to remind myself of that. Even as I was driving up here and I was stuck in traffic, and it's so easy to just get grumpy. And then I just sort of checked myself and was like, all right, it's Friday, first of all.
Yeah.
The next 2 days are going to be awesome. Plus, you're going to go talk with these really cool people.
They look like
Plus,
And we're
you're
eating tacos.
you're a full-time musician.
Yeah.
Who gets to do that?
How bad is that?
So just shut up, and the traffic is fine, and yeah.
And you
Life
made it
is-
work.
Life is pretty fun.
Hey, there's Monica. Monica, come here. This is Monica. She plays the drums too.
Hi, Monica.
This is Natalie.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Ah, nice to meet you too.
Hi, I'm good. I'm good.
I wanted to capture that. Nico's going to show you Natalie's music on YouTube. You're going to love it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you
Okay, I'll do the interviewing from here.
I sing. And I play instruments. Why am I so bad at answering that question? What do you do? Music,
You know why? Because
guitar.
yeah. Because typically you say what you have to say with a bass in your hand.
That's right.
And that's badass.
That's right.
I want to ask that question. So, what drove you to the bass? I mean, 'cause outwardly, you don't seem funky. Because you could say, well, I'm funky and I
Hey,
grabbed a bass.
whoa.
So, this is why we asked the question.
Whoa.
Let's hear it.
He just called you not funky.
What is
outwardly,
no
nobody
one
thinks
has
you
ever
seem-
said you don't seem funky to me. And I'm a little hurt.
All right.
But I'm gonna move past it.
Well, you know
Answer
how
your
much we like you,
question.
but you are kind of wearing a Holly Hobby shirt.
I do kind of look like Annie Hall.
Yeah.
I do. Today I saw myself, when I walked into your bathroom, I was like, did I intentionally try to dress like that girl from, oh my gosh, have you seen the,
Little House on the Prairie?
The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt?
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah, and there's this one girl who always has her hair up like this, and who's just kind of like, "Are you my husband? I'll go with you now."
Yes.
yeah. That's
Oh, you
kind
look like one of the mole women.
I
Yeah.
look like one of the mole women right,
right.
now.
You do. The one that wanted to be a mole woman.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, she's awesome.
So, anywho, I play the bass despite how I look. And so
You
I
don't
can-
seem
I can
like...
look really cool, guys. Okay, I can look really bad.
I'm sure. I just, you didn't come in with the feather boa on like a toothpick in your mouth,
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
That, I'd be like, I bet she plays the bass.
You rang the
Yeah.
doorbell. You didn't
not-
kick the door in.
I'm not even wearing eyeliner. I mean, this is embarrassing.
Wow.
But yeah, so I realized that when I was writing songs when I was in high school, so they were all terrible songs. But anyhow,
Where'd you go to high school?
I lived in Brussels, Belgium.
All right.
Yeah, and I went to a French.
I had
high
a
school
refrigerator
there.
magnet of a little kid peeing.
Oh yeah, the mannequin piss.
Right.
Yeah, that's actually his name. I'm not saying anything crude, but yeah. So
Belgium's a very interesting place.
it is. It's a pretty interesting place.
And so when you were writing songs because this complicates things now, you're not just writing songs as a high school student, but you're in Brussels.
Right.
What were
Yeah.
you doing in Brussels?
My parents were missionaries.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I grew up in France and Belgium.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, so when I would be writing songs, I would hear melodies, usually two melodies intertwining. And I knew that one of those melodies I wanted to be the lead vocal, and that the other melody I would like to be played on bass.
This
So
explains a lot.
Yeah,
that's
it's
how
just
I write
your natural
songs.
voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
explains so much to me because I was doing my show prep, and I was watching you play your songs, and I'm like, I wish she would just hurry up and sing in French, without knowing a thing. And then all of a sudden, the next song is and I'm like, how did I do that? And I was gonna add I could sense the Frenchness in your music,
Oh, thank you.
And it was just a lucky guess on my part. But then you showed up singing, and you have this song. I'm like,
La Vie en Rose.
exactly, yeah. And it
yeah.
was like, so this.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to answer that question.
Yeah,
It
no,
was
it's
bugging
true.
me the whole
You
time.
were right. You were right. There
Just
is
that's
That's
once.
not the question that I wanted you to have a revelation about right there, though. Because sometimes when we do this exercise with a musician, we really try to get to the core of how the musical evolution and finding of the voice
Right.
came along. And Pete asks questions that I think sometimes don't assume, because I always assume that you found the bass because that's what you heard in your soul, and that's what was coming out of you, is that melody that is the bass part. And so I feel like I'm vindicated. Like, oh, well, of course, that's so you just expressed what I had always thought and never put words around. And because Pete's always trying to put words around it. Like, how is that for you? Where did you find that? Where is it? And I'm just like, is that something to answer? Because I'm not sure. But the answer is because that's what was coming out of you.
Yeah.
You could sing the melody that was the
Yeah.
vocal part, and the other thing that was coming out of you was the bass part.
Yeah, and it was more important to me than harmonies. Like having two strong melodic lines was more important to me in the songwriting process.
That's funny to hear because you guys have so much harmony.
Yeah, and a lot of that is because of Jack. I mean,
That's
Jack-
what he hears.
Jack creates really cool harmonies, and I make really oddly funky bass lines.
Funky bass lines, and he
Despite
comes
me.
through with
Yeah.
really odd and captivating chord decisions.
Yes. Yeah. And then I have so it's hard to I'm sort of distinguishing between harmonies the harmonies that he chooses on the piano. That's different than harmonies that someone will sing. Like vocal harmonies come really easily to me because I was raised in church and I was always surrounded by hymns, and so I pick out vocal harmonies really easily. But Jack constructs really cool harmonies on the piano, and that's I think that's where a collaboration becomes cool and unique. Yeah.
Well, you both play against type also, because if you hear the bass in your soul and dress a little like Holly Hobby, Jack also has the darkness that he digs up in chords and is not afraid, by the way, to use in a cover tune. That really intrigues me about you guys too, the choices you make in covers.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's weird. Sometimes
is
he'll
weird.
play something and I'll be like, "What?" And then I'll play a bass line and he'll be like, "What?" And then we just keep it.
like, how did that
Yeah.
work?
Yeah. It doesn't actually make sense. But I think we take pleasure in like surprising each other with what we can come up with, and then
That's a good thing to take pleasure in
Yeah.
for our listeners' benefit.
Yeah.
Speaking for your listeners, thank you for finding that oddity in your relationship.
Yeah.
It's another thing that really speaks to that 10 years that you guys grew together. How did you meet?
I was opening for his band.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. It was college. We were playing at the local coffee house,
Where's this?
Stanford.
Okay.
And it was his senior year, my freshman year. And I opened for his band, and it was one of those weird, like, electric love at first sight sort of moments.
Wow.
Yeah, you guys almost don't have a choice with the way you
Yeah.
make music and everything. You fell in love in several different ways, I can imagine, where
Yeah.
it just hits you. I can get
And then
that.
we also broke up in several different ways after that.
That's
but
all part
like
of the
at
process.
least there was like the beginning, the initial moment that was the whole, lightning struck, and then after that,
The burnt embers fell to earth.
Yeah, exactly.
What were you both studying
And
at
then we
Stanford?
were revived from the ashes.
Yes, the
Right,
Phoenix.
the Phoenix
Yeah.
rose.
Pomplamoose.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, you guys are the second moose-based band on our show.
Oh,
just so you
really?
know. Yes.
Who else?
Who else? Bull Moose.
Oh,
Bull Moose is a great band. Brenna actually, she produced that show. Was a friends of hers from high school that
Oh,
have this
wow.
up and coming band. They're like you guys, but years before when they're just kind of figuring it out. And the girl who runs the show there is spoken to by the bass also.
wow.
Yep. So we seem to have a theme.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you guys study at Stanford before you guys figured out that you were going to be doing what you do now?
So Jack studied music, science, and technology. That was the program that he was in. And I did a major in art, and I mastered in French literature.
French literature.
Sure did.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is something else. Tell us something we don't know about French literature. Never mind. No. You can't. Yeah, we were talking about some Hugo.
No,
or
you know what
we
that reminds me of? Cheech going, Mexican Americans like to go to night school and take Spanish and get a B.
Yes.
She grew up in France and took French literature.
Yeah. It's an easy master's
I'm
at
just
Stanford.
It was.
It's
It was.
an
I
easy
found
master at Stanford.
it is. I found a loophole.
You
and
did it,
They
apparently.
let me do it. So
How
I
often
did
do you
it.
use your master's degree in your work?
Oh, so frequently.
It's like
so
they
frequently.
actually got you. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, you could have this degree.
Yeah.
Just
In
keep
fact,
paying.
today you asked me a fact about French literature, and my mind just went blank. I was just like, nope, you don't know any of that.
Next on Jeopardy, French literature. I have no idea. I'll take something else for any amount of money.
Is that je ne sais pas?
Do you play the French squeeze box? Not the fancy accordion, but the little handheld one, the squeeze box
the
one.
little bandolino thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nope.
See?
No, I don't. But when Jack comes out on stage for the encore, when we're playing live shows and he has his accordion and we play La Vie en Rose, that's pretty fun.
You harness your inner Edith Piaf.
Yeah. We all
Wow.
have one of those.
I'll say.
Man, we brought up Edith and Suzanne Plachette tonight.
Wow.
We're getting deep.
That's
in
pretty
the
good.
ladies, yeah.
That's pretty good. See what you've stirred?
Yeah, the Frenchness.
Yeah. So, listeners, if you haven't already gone to NatalyDawnMusic.com/shows to purchase your tickets for the upcoming West Coast tour, you ought to do that. We ought to
guys.
pack those houses
Yeah.
because those houses are intimate houses.
They
Great
are.
places to see live music.
I'm really excited, that we're playing relatively small rooms. It's going to feel nice and cozy.
Yeah.
Really loved playing Denver. Such a great... It's so fun.
What a
when-
great city, huh?
It's so great. Damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it. They're great.
I wish...
It just
I
gets
wish
cold.
the weather... Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they claim that they have 300 days of sunshine.
They do love to say that.
But if the sun pokes out, they're like, yep, count it. It's on the board. Like, it's snowing and shitty outside.
Right.
You cannot count this day. Like, I saw the sun. Like,
Warm as
I
it
didn't.
got was 41, but the sun showed up. It's like the sun showed up with a hat on and a hangover. And it was crabby.
Yeah.
But hey, showed up.
300 days of sunshine. Okay. Denver is, I do love Denver, though. It is nice.
Denver is lovely.
But anyhow, we're not
and
playing
they love
there, so
live
forget
music.
Denver. Yeah.
Get Denver for right
But you're playing 4 more cities that love live music. First of all, Los Angeles on November 10th. San Francisco, of course, I always say New Orleans is my favorite city. But when I'm in New Orleans, I go, but I'm from San Francisco, so I'm not counting that one except for San Francisco. New Orleans is my favorite city. But San Francisco, who doesn't know about the connection between San Francisco and live music? So go see Natalie at the Chapel in San Francisco on November 15th. We'll be there. It's a Tuesday. I will rock on a Tuesday.
Aw, you guys are going to come out for that?
Absolutely.
I'm going to buy white pants. And I'm going to show up.
Wow.
I'm not sure what to make of that.
I will notice you.
That's right.
And
and,
remark.
and perhaps be damaged for the
And-
rest of
yeah,
your life, because when he wears white pants, it's going to be like the Brothers Johnson white pants
Mm.
or the Neil Sean white pants that he
Are we
wore on the
talking,
back
like,
of that.
bell bottoms
Yeah.
here?
Oh,
or-
well, you know what? I don't know what's going on the bottom, but I know the top part's going to be really tight, and you're probably going to see the outline of things you don't
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
want to see.
That's
Like the
a-
change in my pocket.
There you go. And ladies, if that doesn't entice you to come out to the Chapel in San Francisco on November 15th, I'm not sure what on earth ever could. November 18th, the Old Church in Portland, Oregon.
It is an actual church.
It's an actual old
Yeah.
church.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kind of crazy.
Here's the thing
It's
about
spooky.
that, live music listeners. You know what it sounds like in a church. Things sound great in a church.
They do.
You know, it's probably
Heavenly.
made out of stone. It's in Portland.
Yeah, I think it's probably haunted.
Mm-hmm.
Might be haunted, but like in a good way. The spirits will definitely enhance the music.
Right. Haunted
Yeah.
by saints.
Casper's playing bass.
Yeah.
Backup, like a one
Yeah.
octave.
You know,
higher or
I
something.
tried to watch that movie recently.
Did
I
you?
did try to watch Casper the Friendly Ghost last week.
Yeah.
How did we
I had a cold.
bring
you know?
up that reference and then you had something for it?
Yeah.
I don't
Wow.
know, but it's a
That's a deep
terrible
dig right there.
movie. It's a really
It's
bad. It's
terrible.
really hard to watch that
It's
movie. I
terrible.
got through about like 10 minutes of it. and
Who's
was
in
like,
Casper?
I'm not sick enough to watch.
I don't even remember.
the young girl. Oh gosh, I can't.
Oh,
remember
yeah,
her
right,
name.
right.
Yeah, she's
It's not Christina Ricci, but it's like we can't get.
No, it
Christi-
is.
Is it?
It is Christina
It
Ricci.
is.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go. You're
you
welcome.
win.
I win.
You win another glass of wine.
Perfect.
So the thing about her being in that movie, though, is you would think, and for most people, I'm sure, when that movie wrapped, they were like, well, that's it. That's the
Yeah.
last fucking thing I'm ever going to do. I guess I ought to call it right here, huh? And
But
she
I remember,
moved on.
Yeah, she moved on, and the kids love it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The kids love that shit. They
Yeah.
really do. I loved it. I thought it was great when I was a kid.
Did you?
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Hey, dude, I was pretty young when it came out.
Yeah, that
don't,
movie's old.
Don't judge.
No, I'm not being
don't-
judgy.
Hey, no.
I'm just saying. Okay. Did you really? All right.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to revisit it. You know how when you maybe you're not like this. Everybody has go-to things that they watch when they have a cold, when you're under the weather, you want
Right.
to watch. For me, I want to watch movies that I liked when I was a kid.
Sure.
But
But
basically
that
like,
one didn't have the legs you thought it would have.
No. No.
What movie had the legs that you wanted it to have?
Oh gosh, any like Pixar or Disney movie is
Sure.
Oh,
like
yeah.
a
Yeah, those are
win.
strong.
Yeah.
Those are strong.
Yeah, exactly. Babe, it's really good.
Oh, Babe.
Yeah.
Not
That's
the
a-
Babe, but Babe the pig
Just
movie.
Babe,
Right.
the pig movie. When you have a cold, you should watch Babe. It'll make you feel so good.
Huh. Okay.
I took a date to see Casper.
Wow.
I did.
Wow.
I did.
Did that date end well?
A date's always end well.
Okay.
Yeah. But the thing was, I was in the Army at the time, so that was the movie they were showing.
Right.
So I was like, if you're going to see a movie, you're going to see Casper. But that's why I remember like it came out like in 1995 or something like that. But that movie's 20 years old, so
Yeah.
it was shitty back then though. When I saw it as an adult, I'm like, this movie's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's popcorn's free, so who cares?
Okay.
Yeah.
Plus, the date ended well.
Yeah, date's always in well.
Yeah. So
Right.
there's, yep.
Yeah. So movies that you like to watch when you are
She supported
sick.
the troops. Sorry. Please
Pixar.
carry
okay.
on.
What do you got, John? What do you watch when you're not
Oh
feeling
man,
come on.
I don't. I'm very fortunate in that I don't get sick very often, so I don't have a whole lot of. I don't have a go-to repertoire, but what I typically like when I'm sick are action movies.
Yeah.
I'll
good
watch
stuff.
something with some action because I'll be sitting there incapacitated, and I'll be like, when I get up out of this couch, I'm gonna do those things.
But like, are you talking like classic action movies that you've already seen, or do you like to venture into new territory? Because I almost never venture into new territory when I'm sick. I just want to see something I've already seen.
You know
that
what I
know
find
is good.
funny is that when you're in that mode, a lot of times I'll just turn on the TV, I'll be flipping through, and I'll run into Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'll run into Enter the Dragon and I'll just be like, oh yeah, and I'll be riveted.
Yeah.
And then they'll cut to commercial and it'll be commercial for some household item, you know,
Yeah.
a mop or something. Yeah, a Swiffer. And I'll watch that and then, okay, back to the movie. I could just throw the DVD in
Right.
and watch the movie.
Right.
But I never do that. I will, however, watch it on TBS
Right.
with the commercials.
And no swear words.
Yeah. What's with that?
Is it just because it's instant? It's just available to you. You don't have to do anything
Yes.
for it.
Yes.
It's just like
Couch potato.
pure laziness.
Pure laziness.
This is-
You're absolutely
This was
right.
given to me, and I will take it.
Oh, the shame. The shame. How did we veer so far away?
Casper.
I know. Oh, yeah, Casper.
Yeah, that was my fault. This
all right.
whole
Did you see
thing.
the new Ghostbusters movie?
I did.
Yes,
Was it any good?
I enjoyed it.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
There was nothing wrong with that movie. It's just not the first one.
Right.
If it had been the first one, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
You know, and I was a kid when I saw that movie, so you know it has a special place. But a lot of the redos or the callback movies, they do so much calling back. Like like there's 20 minutes of the movie dedicated just to that, and it's important. But
I saw the new Vacation,
how was that?
and I didn't think that it did too much calling back. I think they did just enough.
Uh-huh.
They respected the old movie, but they moved on, which I think is a great idea. Things have changed.
I felt like Ghostbusters had some really interesting. I thought it had really unexpected jokes that where I would just be caught off guard and just burst out laughing. And
Okay.
I really wasn't. I really like that when the comedy is that fresh. And I also felt like it's going to be all about them being women, and it wasn't, you know.
It was about them being Ghostbusters.
Yeah, exactly. And these like feminist jokes that were there were really smart and really like, I don't know. You
liked it.
I think you should go see it if
All
you
right.
have. I'm gonna stand by that.
All right.
I'm gonna stand by that.
An endorsement.
I don't even know what the reviews
See
say
that?
about it.
It is not a bad movie. It's
See?
all right.
Thank you.
Let's
was funny.
compare the redo of a movie
Okay.
to recording a cover of a song that you
Ooh.
like.
Somebody's thinking.
Yeah.
What would you want to cover? What are you dying to like be able to do?
Are we talking about covering? Wait. You gotta clarify. Are we redoing a movie or a song here?
Well,
what is happening?
before we get into a hypothetical,
Okay.
how different do you think that is when somebody says, "Hey, we're going to redo Ghostbusters"? Is that like doing a cover tune?
Oof. Yes.
You think so?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because right off the bat, you have to think, what about it are we going to keep? And what about it are we going to throw out completely? You know, because every time when you cover a song, okay. When I cover a song, I'll usually choose one element and then just gut the rest of it and redo the rest of it. And I won't keep the same harmonies. I won't keep the same, bass line. I'll just redo the whole thing.
Yeah, the rhythms will be different.
But the core of it, you figure out what the core of it is, and then you keep that because it still has to resemble the original song in some way, or else it's not a cover.
Right.
So I think that I would imagine that would be the super tricky part of redoing a movie, especially a beloved, a classic movie that everyone already just worships. I guess you don't really redo shitty movies.
No, they
No,
try
you
to.
do.
Yeah, they do.
You do.
Like
Yeah.
what?
Can we? Yeah, let's think about some shitty
What
movies.
shitty
that have
movie
been-
got covered?
that have been redone.
There's a lot of movies that they've redone that weren't worth doing again. Like where they try it again, and right now I can't think of a single one.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
That's like, oh, there's all kinds of hot girls in my anatomy class, man. Like
I
who?
would know their names. I would know their names.
Yeah.
Like who? Like who?
Well,
man.
so I'll think of one.
Okay.
But I don't have one right now. But yes, there's movies they've done like the shitty movie, and they're like, let's try again, and they've done it, and it was still shitty. I know it.
I don't know how you can talk the bean counters into that. Like, hey, you know what? How about you give us $54 million and we'll redo Ishtar?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to
We're
be
not
like,
talking
oh, I
colossal
got
flop, no.
$54 million for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was just the most obvious example.
But what about something like The Nutty Professor? Mm-hmm. The original Nutty Professor, was it like a great movie? Was it a critically acclaimed movie?
It would never. It can't be. It's not that kind of movie.
Well, but it left a lasting impact. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was played for years.
Yeah. It was played for years. It had influence in a lot of movies that came after it.
Uh-huh.
And then, just like you described, I think when they redid it, they said, well, let's capture these elements and let's throw the rest of it out. Let's have the scene with the family. Let's give all of the characters in the family a little piece of something to do, and let's play on the date being everything was different about the two movies.
Yeah.
They refreshed it. It was current at the time. And so I think that's sort of mirrors your process. Because if you do a movie like that, I don't know a whole lot about redos of movies, though, because I can't think of much. Ocean's 11. That was made contemporary and still had the elements that were important about the first one.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that I can think of redos of movies that are redos of movies that were already worshipped, like like Ghostbusters,
Right.
like examples
Yeah.
like that. I was trying to think of movies that were not beloved when they came out and then got redone.
Yeah, but I
which
can't think of
is
any of those.
Really hard to think of.
Yeah, I haven't been able to pull
Yeah.
one up, but I know there was one out.
I mean,
there.
the most recent one is the Dirty Dozen.
yeah,
No.
and I'm not
What about-
watching that because it's a Western and it's 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Or like Ben-Hur recently
Oh my
came
goodness,
out.
it was
man.
terrible.
I didn't even want to. I
was
didn't even
terrible.
see it.
It
Like,
was-
why would you?
It was terrible. It was utter crap.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was bad. I thought of a remake where there's a cover in it and it works brilliantly though.
What is it?
Ooh.
God damn it! What's that movie called? What's that movie? I'll have to cut this part out. What's the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire, and they are in Egg Harbor, and it's F. Scott Fitzgerald's book. What's that movie called?
Oh yeah, that one.
Great Gatsby.
Great Gatsby. Thank you. God.
So in the Great Gatsby, the new one they made, a second U2 reference.
Here we go.
Jack White took Love Is Blindness and did Jack White to it. He's like, I'm going to tear it down. I'm going to put in a distortion on the thing. I'm just going to scream and growl. And he took the song to a totally different direction. And so right at the moment, at the peak of the movie, when the car's coming down and it hits the girl, the song is Love Is Blindness, and it's just gritty, and it's the best part of the whole movie. So those two points collided, and it was great. Two remakes together, a remake and a cover that worked together and worked really well in the movie. It's powerful.
That reminds me of Romeo and Juliet.
The Romeo and Juliet that had John Leguizamo
Yeah.
and a Chrome 45.
Yeah.
God, that was an awful piece of shit. That was an insufferable, steaming hunk of crap.
Wait a second. No, I was talking about Romeo. Are you talking about the one with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah, it was like urban New York.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it was terrible. It was unbearable. Did you like it?
Oh, man. When I was a kid, I thought that was the shit. I thought it was so good. I haven't seen it as a grown-up.
Our difference in age is right there.
Yeah.
Where you were able to watch that movie and enjoyed it for the shininess and the sexiness and the
It made
stylized.
Shakespeare sexy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like,
You put-
oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
It's an oh for fuck's sake movie.
Yeah.
But
really,
imagine
you got to give the
everybody
Puerto
else-
Rican the Chrome 45.
But then, can you imagine, like, I'm in high school at the time. Everything else they were showing about Shakespeare was just really very difficult to
Very
watch.
difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was great. We could all watch that.
I dug Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was good.
Oh, yeah.
That was good.
Very little Shakespeare in that.
Very little Shakespeare. The cover that you did of Single Ladies, that is a great example of your taking the element that you like of the song forward and making the song still familiar enough and rebuilding everything else.
Yep.
All the way down to, I don't like to sing this part. I'm not going to sing this part.
I feel so bad about that
Yeah.
because when we recorded that, I was just being such a smartass, and I was just like, these lyrics are really bad, and I didn't want to sing them, and so I sang about not singing the lyrics, and then
And it fit.
and it did, but then right after that, I mean, just imagine, we had 10,000 subscribers at the time, and then overnight, like basically in a few weeks, we had 50,000 subscribers because of that video.
Wow.
Our page it quintupled because Kanye got up and said Single Ladies was the best, one of the best music videos ever made.
Oops.
And yeah, and then everybody started Googling Single Ladies, and then our cover
And
of
people
Single
landed
Ladies
on
came up.
yours.
Yeah, and that was really what started our whole
Trajectory.
yeah, which was, I mean, we'd been making music for a while before that, but we got lucky. Just it was the first popular cover that we did, and it was Single Ladies, and it was at the right time. And
You
that
just nailed it.
Yeah, and that was kind of crazy. But then I always felt bad because I was like, well, what if Beyonce heard this, and I'm like, what if she wrote those lyrics, and I just shat all over them. It was just.
Well,
It's very possible.
I'm sure she
that
got
all of
over
those
it.
things happen.
Yeah, she's all right.
I'm sure she does not remember anything about me.
Yeah, well, maybe she does. And maybe she said, hey, you know what? She's going a different speed. She's doing her thing, and her thing isn't my thing.
I don't know.
So there it is.
well, we talked earlier about the live from
love
Darryl's
Beyonce.
house.
I know. Me
Yeah,
too.
I love her.
I
And
love
one of the
Beyonce.
things I love about her, though, is that because
Yeah.
I can really very vividly imagine her going, hey, great.
Yeah,
Glad you did that. That was you doing you.
yeah, and that's what
I think that's how she lives.
that's exactly it. That's where I was going with the Darryl Hall thing. He's like, yeah, let's do one of my songs a different way. Let's sing it in a different, however you want to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, hell
Yep.
yeah, she's all right with it.
Sure.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for absolving me from my
Ah,
sins.
no problem. By the way, Jay Moore has checked in, and he said he was happy that you were sitting here.
Aw, good old
Wanted
Jay.
to check in
Good
and
old
say hi.
JJ.
Yeah, JJ's checking in. We love him.
Yeah,
So
he's great.
yeah, he is. And if you guys haven't heard his episode of Barry Katz's podcast,
Oh, my goodness.
Industry Standard,
So good.
it is such a beautiful thing to sit and listen to.
Yeah.
I just,
Jay cries in it, or gets right to the edge of crying.
oh man, so did I.
His voice was warbling and everything, and it was beautiful.
Yeah. They have a very, very close relationship that has developed over time and developed over the time of both of their entire careers.
Wow.
And so to hear the two of them, they cut right to it too. They didn't waste any time with, hey, so tell me how, they just from the beginning of the show went, man, we've been together a long, long time.
Oh.
And it was really beautiful. So we have had you for over an hour, and I would love
gosh.
to do this for as long as anything. But there are two things that I would like to do. First is I want to make sure that you understand that we would love to have both of you on the show. We'd love to do a Pomplamoose show.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
And I mean, if Jack
Maybe when
doesn't
we-
like vegan tacos, I'll
We'll make some ribs.
Yeah, we'll make ribs.
We don't care.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, he'll do vegan.
Yeah.
He's not opposed to that at all.
Well, we're
You
not
did a
opposed to ribs. It's okay to ask for ribs.
Okay. All right.
I can hook some
Jack
ribs up.
definitely wants ribs.
Okay.
we go.
I copy.
All right.
Yeah. No, thank you guys so much for
Yeah.
having me out here and
Yeah, this has been great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, wait, you said there were two things that you wanted to say?
But the second is just to remind everybody of your West Coast tour with Lauren O'Connell.
Right.
And we didn't really talk about the comedic element of you touched on it. You said she's really, really funny.
Oh, she's hysterical.
That's the other part of live performance that's so important, is just to
Yep.
make everybody, to be the leader of everybody's good time.
Yeah. I hate boring people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
No way.
And funny is great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge, you know how Pete is with you two, I am with Prince. And I loved Prince so much because he was not only a musical genius, but he was part Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
He was hilarious.
He had timing,
He was-
comedic and musical.
His timing was so good. And he made it work. I don't know how he made it work for someone who took himself so seriously.
Yeah.
But he did. He was funny as hell.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, actually, because Lauren takes music very, very seriously. I say she takes music seriously. I take music seriously, too. I think she takes it more seriously. She definitely does.
Really?
But she also, is just funnier.
Yeah.
And she's great.
That's very kind of you to say those things because you're hilarious as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, stop it. I've said like maybe 2 funny things on this show.
Okay.
And you should just like
It was-
grab those
it was
things.
really one.
Really one
Yeah,
thing.
just
Thank you for being honest. So the one funny thing I said, if you could just repeat that throughout the show.
Right.
And then
we'll just loop it.
add
Yeah.
layer laughter on top
The other
of it.
thing was a solid 5.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Cool.
On like a scale of 40.
Great.
No.
Shh.
We don't do the 40
No,
scale.
come on, not anymore.
But a solid 5 get a chuckle out of you.
Yeah.
No, we're talking about November 10th at the Hotel Cafe in Los Angeles. November 15th, that's a Tuesday, people. Come out on Tuesday. You know what? Stir up your week. This is what's wrong with people is they get so ingrained in their weekly rhythm. Stir up your week, people. Go
Yeah.
see live music on a Tuesday, God damn it. And
I
go
never
see
play music on a Tuesday, so this is new for me too. It'll be new for all of us.
Look at that. A fresh
Yeah.
experience for us all at the chapel in San Francisco. And then on November 18th, the Old Church in Portland. Portland's a great music town, too.
It really is, yeah.
And then the following night, November 19th, Barboza in Seattle. Mm-hmm. So those
And
are
then-
great places to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People should go see you.
That'd be great. That'd be really great. Also, if they need to sort of get a sense of what some of the music is like before that, my album comes out on October 29th.
Yeah.
And they can listen to it, and you can listen to it on Spotify and wherever
iTunes
else you can
as
listen
well
to-
on the
Yep.
29th.
all over the place.
Yeah. So
I
you
even-
can get it early, though.
Yeah,
If you decide to become a patron on Patreon,
that's true.
and you will get that, and the Pomplamoose album is a live album that you guys
Yeah.
recorded live in the
Yeah.
studio.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Lots
get
of-
those things, people.
Lots of new
Get
stuff.
those things.
Do it.
Yeah.
So I have one thing.
Yes.
And normally we lay in our theme music on the way out of the show. Would you play us something to play you out on the
Oh,
show?
great.
All right.
I gotta tune my guitar up real quick here.
Sweet.
I could even slide her closer too.
This is a song that we only really play live. We're about to record it. I'm gonna record it with my friend Lauren O'Connell pretty soon here and release it early next year. But for now, it's just something that we play live. So, how are the levels? How do you think?
I think you're okay.
Great. All right, here we go. Professor, Professor, be my undresser as I'm lying awake in the dark. I'm feeling inspired and I won't get you fired. No, I'm just getting sick of playing the part. Professor, Professor, don't judge me the lesser, 'cause you think I don't know how it ends. If you think I'm frightened 'cause you're so damn enlightened, my dear, I only fear I must reprimand you. Think you're so wise, I'll admit you've got eyes, but you never see me. Let's take a chance. Please shut up about France. It'll never, no, never relieve me. Professor, Professor, my faithful de-stressor, you're the reason I took up this art. Now I've learned my lesson, so we best start undressing before you go ahead and break my poor heart. Ooh, before you go ahead and break my poor heart.
You are the best.
Oh, thank you. You guys are the best. Thank
Nataly
you.
Dawn, everybody, go check out her live show.
Thank
You
you.
will not be disappointed. Thank you.
It's fun stuff. Thanks, guys.